Have you ever felt like it was falling into a deep-bottomed well? As if your prayers did not reach God, as if life had abandoned you in the mud of hopelessness, and no one could hear you shouting for help. If you are watching this video now, you probably know this feeling of sinking, having lost hope, feeling that God has forgotten you. Perhaps your accounts are overcome. Your family may be in crisis. You may be facing a disease, a separation, or simply feel lost in the darkness of life. But I have a powerful word for you today, a word that can completely change your perspective on what you are living. In Psalm 40, David reveals to us a secret that can turn his most desperate situation into a victory testimony. Before we continue, if this word is touching your heart, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave your like. This helps us reach more people who need to hear this message of hope. Now let's dive together in this transformative revelation. Psalm 40 begins with one of the most powerful statements in the entire Bible. I waited patience in the Lord, and he leaned over to me and heard my cry. Note that David did not say, I waited a little, or waited quickly. He said, I waited patiently. This Hebrew word, kava, means an active wait, an expectation full of expectation, a wait that does not give up even when everything seems lost. It is like a rope being cheered, each day becoming stronger, more resistant. How many of us know this sensation? You pray, you cry out, you fast, and it looks like the skies are closed. It seems that God is not listening, but David teaches us that God not only listens, he leans into us. Imagine this: the creator of the universe, the one who sustains the stars with his word, leans like a loving father slopes to hear the whisper of his little son. Not only does he hear from afar, he approaches, he leans, he cares about every detail of his suffering. David continues, he took me out of a pit of destruction, a trembling mud, put my feet over a rock, he fell my steps. This grave was not just any hole. The Hebrew word used here suggests a well of destruction, a place where there was no natural way out, where the person was destined to die. The tremendous mud represents that feeling, that the more you fight, deeper you sink. It is the anxiety that consumes you. It is depression that paralyzes you. It is the financial situation that seems to have no solution. It is the relationship that is destroyed. It is the disease that haunts you. But observe what God did. He not only helped David leave, he took David completely. It was not a gradual exit. It was not a slow process. It was a complete, total, definitive release. And more than that, he not only took David out of the mud, but put his feet over the rock. The rock represents stability, security, a solid foundation. God does not take you out of a bad situation to leave you in a mediocre situation. He takes you out of the mud to put you on the rock. It takes you out of instability to give you firmness. It takes you out of uncertainty to give you security. And then David says something extraordinary. And he put a new song on my lips, a hymn of praise to our God. Do you realize what happened here? David went from lamentation to the celebration, from despair to praise, from death to life. This new song is not just a different song, it is a new melody of life, a new spiritual frequency, a new perspective on who God is and what he can do. When God takes you out of the grave, he not only changes his situation, he changes his song. He changes the music of his life. And here comes a powerful promise. Many will see this, and will fear, and will trust the Lord. Your liberation testimony is not just for you. God will use his story to play other lives, to give hope to those who are lost, to show that he is still in control, that he still operates miracles, that he still transforms impossible situations. David then talks about God's thoughts. Many, O Lord my God, are your wonderful works and your thoughts to us. They cannot be told in order before you. If they wanted to announce them and speak of them, they are more than they can numbered. Did you know that God has specific thoughts about you? No vague or generic thoughts, but detailed, planned, careful thoughts about your life. Jeremiah 29:11 tells us that they are thoughts of peace and not evil, to give you a future and hope. Even when you can't see, even when everything seems lost, God is thinking of you, planning your liberation, preparing your victory. The psalm continues with David declaring his obedience. Sacrifice and offering did not want. My ears opened. Holocaust and atonement for sin did not complain. Here I come. In the roll of the book of me it is written, I delight in doing your will, O God, my God. Yes, your law is within my heart. Here is the key to transformation. When God takes you out of the pit, it is not just to give you relief, it is to give you purpose. It is so that you become an instrument in his hand. David discovered that true worship is not in external rituals, but in the complete surrender of life to God. Saved you. But the psalm does not end there. My iniquities arrested me, so I cannot look up. They are more numerous than the hair on my head, from what my heart fade. You see this? Even after the great liberation, David still faces challenges. The Christian life is not an unrestrained road. Even after God takes you out of the grave, you will still face difficulties. But the difference is that now you know the God who frees you. Now you have a history of victories with him. Lord, hurry to help me. He does not pray with doubt. He sometimes for sure. He does not ask if God can. He asks God to hurry himself, for he knows God's heart. He knows the power of God. He knows God's faithfulness. And the psalm ends with a prophetic statement, "But I am poor and needed. However, the Lord takes care of me. You are my aid and my liberator. Do not stop you, O God my." David recognizes himself as poor and needy, but this is not a confession of defeat. It is a confession of dependence. It is recognizing that our strength comes from God. Our hope comes from God. Our liberation comes from God. And when you put yourself in this position of dependence, something supernatural happens. God becomes your personal aid and your particular liberator. How thick is the mud that surrounds you? God can get you out. Health problems that haunt you. You may be dealing with a destroyed relationship that causes you pain. You may be struggling against addictions. Do not see signs of change. It is the patience that understands that the time of God is perfect, that he always acts at the right time. Know that we are together on this journey of life, spiritual growth, conquest of God's promises. Remember, God has not forgotten.